video, I'm going to be talking about a mixture of things. I didn't do a video on Wednesday, so I thought it'd be good to do some updates to show you what I've been working on. I didn't do a video on Wednesday because nothing's finished. Everything's halfway through. So, first of all, do you remember the bedsheet that I made a little while ago? Thank you to everybody that suggested how to make it sit correctly. Some people suggested magnets. Some people suggested some PVA glue. Some people said that I should have put foil in the middle between the layers. That was a great idea, but too late. But anyway, I thought I'd start with the easiest option first, and that was just to iron it into shape. The fabric's quite thick, so I didn't think that this would work, but I thought there was no harm in giving it a go. I decided to have the dotty fabric facing upwards like this. And I just used the iron to gently flatten it, to put creases where I wanted them. Just on a complete side note, I'd really like a new ironing board cover. But I've designed one in my head and I can't find it in the shops. I'd like a dark one, and I'd like it to be patterned with mushrooms or maybe acorns or maybe sort of foresty materials. But yeah, I can't find one. So I'm thinking maybe I should make one myself, but actually I also can't find the fabric. So yeah, if anyone sees any fabric that looks like that anywhere, please let me know. I wonder if it's possible to get your own fabric printed. If anyone knows anything about that, please let me know as well. It'd be quite nice to design it myself. Anyway, as you can see in the video here, I was starting to measure up my miniature bed to make some curtains to go around it. It was the morning of the knit and stitch group at Dunelm. It was still quite dark at this point because it was a few weeks ago. And I thought I would do the curtains at the Dunelm Knit and Stitch group because it was a textiles project. However, as you can see, before leaving to go to Dunelm, I completely changed my mind. I decided that curtains around the bed might actually cover up too much of the woodwork and too much of the bedding that I'd already made. So I think that I'm going to leave the curtains and not do them at all. So, as you can see, I went to Dunelm with a bag full of raffia, is it called? My mum had brought it for me and she'd already started plaiting it for me to give me an idea of what it could look like. So I decided to make some rush matting for the bedroom of my doll's house. So obviously my doll's house is based on the Tudor style, and in the Tudor era they used to put down rushes which were woven together to make mats. And over these rushes they used to sprinkle herbs and flowers, and it was to try and make the houses smell nicer. And there was one season each year where they would replace all the matting after they'd harvested all the rushes. So my mum had already plaited some of this together, and I had a little look at it. The piece of paper here is my template, and I decided that it was plaited a little bit too thick so it wouldn't be to scale. So I tried to unravel all of the raffia, and I took the plait that my mum had already done and trimmed it down to the correct size to match the template, and then I started to unravel it. So I'm really sorry Mum, because I know that this plait took you quite a while to do. My mum was sat next to me, she knew what I was doing. So I unplaited it so that I could take a few less threads and then I could replait. So, I used this piece of foam to push a needle through to hold my raffia into place whilst I plaited it. Everybody takes something different to the Knit and Stitch group. It's really nice to see what everybody's doing. The sponge that I was using here was the sponge that I used for needle felting, which is why it looks a bit fuzzy. So these plaits were really small, so as you can see, it was going to take me a while. So I worked away plaiting more and more plaits, But actually, when I took these home, I thought that they maybe wouldn't look that good in the bedroom of the doll's house as a mat. So for now, I've just put a pause on this project and decided to not go any further with it. So I decided to move on to a different part of the doll's house. Now, if you've watched the previous videos, you'll know that I put a video out asking for advice because I wasn't sure whether to restructure this loft space. I can inform you that I have started working on some restructuring, but it's not going too well. So that bit's not in this video, that will be in a separate video. But I did start to remove the carpets first. The cat took full advantage of the fact that the doll's house had been moved from this spot for a few minutes. So I wet the carpets just with a warm, wet sponge and a little bit of washing up liquid, and this helped to loosen the adhesive so that I could peel the carpet away. It does look quite easy in this video, but it was easy in the centre of the carpet. It peeled away easily. Oh, I've just used the word easily so many times. It peeled away without effort. But unfortunately, around the sides of the carpet, I think some different adhesive must have been used because that was quite difficult to get off, and I haven't managed to fully get it all off. But my plan is to lay floorboards, and I think it'll be okay to lay them over any scraps that are left over. You could see all of the woodworking marks from whoever's built this doll's house. Honestly, it is made so well, it's so strong, and it's amazing to see sort of the details of the measurements from when somebody's built it. It really makes me think about the history of the house. Also tried to start removing this door to see how difficult it would be to do some restructure work, but then I decided to stop because actually it was getting quite late and I didn't want to make a mess of it. So the next day I started to work on the floorboards for this loft space, because even though I haven't started working on the restructure, when the restructure is finished it is going to need some floorboards. I've lost my tool to cut lollipop sticks. I had a really good sort of angled mitre cutter tool, which cut through lolly sticks really well, but instead I had to use some scissors, and it took ages. It did leave these little leftover bits at each end, and I've got to say that I looked at them and thought surely there's a possibility for using these to make miniatures. I'm thinking maybe that's a little miniature trug, or is it called a trug? A little basket. Anyway, put those to one side for now. Here's all of my trimmed lolly sticks. There's about 100 lollipop sticks here, so that was 200 ends to cut. So I spread them out over a piece of plastic because I was going to be painting them and I didn't want to get paint on my table, even though my table is completely damaged from all the crafting that I've done. One day I will think about sort of putting a new tabletop over it or something like that. Anyway, I used some raw umber acrylic paint and mixed it with some water to make a wash. When I started painting, it was really hard to keep my fingers out of the way, so I just used a fork and it's really worked. So I painted both sides and I've got these ready now for once my loft renovations are done and I can start laying the floor. So thank you so much for watching. Please do remember to hit subscribe if you want to see the next videos, and I have a surprise in next week's video.